Good. Wow.
How'd you get here?
This video is deliberately written and performed to mirror the experience of reading Nietzsche for the first time. And there's like a lot of stuff suddenly getting thrown at you, and it's a little bit chaotic and weird, and it's kind of visceral in a little bit of a bodily way. But then it all sort of comes together towards the end and starts to make sense. The question also arises, do we count everything that Nietzsche ever wrote, including his private letters and his notebooks? Or do we only count the things that he himself published? Philosophers disagree on that question.
They really don't, actually. There's a lot of philosophers who, in their wills, demand their families to burn everything when they die that's not published. That's a thing that fucking happens. Really. I think Foucault specifically, there's a couple others. Burn everything I didn't publish. Fuck you, I don't want this out.
For the sake of completeness, I'm just going to count all of it. Nietzsche had a big influence on Sigmund Freud. That's therapy, psychoanalysis, woke. You see,
I did a video on this. I did a historiography or universal history of desire. And I walked through the way that this works. It's very, very troubling to say specifically that Nietzsche and Freud, like there's connections you can make, but it's more that Nietzsche influenced Freud.
Nietzsche's solution to the problems of society was that we need to achieve a personal psychological transformation. He wrote a lot of stuff about how society shapes the minds of the people that live under it.
Okay. I mean, sure.
He also talked a lot about how our desires get
This is going to infuriate me.
squished down inside us by the rules of civilization. Here's a delicious example.
This is not a delicious example. Desire, the will to power, libido, désir in French, this thrust and drive is not personalized and it's non-specific. It is from all the way back to Spinoza to now. Darwin too, by the way. Darwin, she left fucking Darwin out. How do you leave Darwin out of this? Like this would make your point, at least a little bit. At least throw Darwin in. Darwin was influenced a lot by these people. I want a bagel. Great. That's not the desire that society tamps down. That's not how it works. I don't want to eat something fatty, or I do want to eat something fat. She's going to give this example of, this is a delicious example.
This is an almond croissant.
Also, speak in your language. It's fine. You don't have to say this, but do not say croissant. The croissant.
It's
Don't do that. One, French people really fucking hate it when you pretend to be like them. Just be stupid and American or British. It's fine. French people are actually very forgiving of that when you're learning their language. They're happy to have you look dumb, but they don't pretend to overdo their thing. Like, it sounds stupid to them. It's a lot like when you see a British actor or a French actor doing an American accent badly, where it's like, hello there, I'm going to come around and say we're going to have some food. Like, it sounds terrible and it's gross. It's bad. It's bad. Don't do this.
Carbs and it's sugar. Fantastic. I desire this. I want this. But I really, really wish that I didn't. I actually have some problems with disordered eating. I have for years. I value carbs and sugar extremely negatively, and I avoid them as a rule, as a strict rule of how I live my life. But that doesn't make me happy. And it also doesn't eliminate my cravings, because when you set something up as a rule of how you live your life, as like a central plank of who you are, then it's always with you. You're carrying that craving all the time. So I have guilt, I have shame, I have internal conflict, and I have...
These are all deeply specific, personalized choices that are named and given name. This is not what Nietzsche, Deleuze, Freud, Spinoza, blah, 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 are talking about when they talk about desire. Desire are the infinite thrusts and drives towards life and procreation. For Freud, it's very explicitly the life or death drive. So it's like fuck or destruction. And sometimes both. But it's not, oh, an almond croissant. Oh, I shouldn't. Oh, maybe I should. That's a deep oversimplification of it, and it ruins the conversation. It also ruins when you talk about Nietzsche, the very idea of what he's going at. It's just really, really frustrating.
I'm all torn up inside because I've based my life around a simultaneous rejection of and craving for the almond croissant. So what's the solution here? Well, could I start thinking differently? Why do I value carbs and sugar as a negative thing? Where did I get that idea from?
I hate everything about this because, see, I'm going to end up at some point kind of just snapping because I've watched this with Sunday, and I just was like, Jordan Peterson being in the top middle of that board is kind of all you need to know, because when you talk about the self and the personalization of repression, which is 100% what happened here. You heard her just describe it. Where do I get that from? Where do I have it set up?
Who told me that?
Who told me that?
Should I
value them differently? It's within me to fix it. That thing is explicitly what the identity politics or the egoist movement is. What Jordan Peterson and all the people on the right want you to think that the problem is in you, that you're the one who needs to be fixed, that you need to be working on it, when the reality is the reason you're like this, the reason that she's like this, is because of society and the material conditions in which we are produced. Universal versus identity. She's a reactionary. Really, she is a fucking right-winger at this point. I'm having a real hard time seeing otherwise right now. Like, this is the right-wing take, that if you're going to talk about yourself, and if I can change, I can better myself, I can make things better, this is...
Could I see this as maybe a good thing, like a nice treat?
I change me,
could I even just regard it as
not society,
just like food?
Me.
By doing that, could I undergo a personal psychological transformation? Could I remake myself and be...
Honestly, man, I wish Contra didn't suck now. Contra does this so much better. This over-dramatized bullshit, but it works. I don't know if it sounds like I'm insulting Contra when I say it. She did it so well, where it was like this over-the-top fucking silly, sultry B-movie shit, but somehow came out the other side where it worked. This is just...
Become a different kind of person? Well, there's a word for that. The word is genealogy.
I still don't get...
Differently? Like, could I see this as maybe a good thing, like a nice treat? Or could I even just regard it as neutral?
What? Randomly, but they dated? What? That sounds like bad fan fiction, and I do not want to know more. Please, I don't want to know more. I don't want to know more. I don't want to know more. This is the opposite of Starship Troopers. I don't want to know more. I will close this fucking stream down if you keep telling me about it. I do not want to know more about these people's personal lives.
It's just like food. By doing that, could I undergo a personal psychological transformation?
Personal psychological transformation is fascism. That's a fascist idea that it's within you.
Could I remake myself and become a different kind of person?
That I can remake myself and become a different kind of person. Fascist internalization, instead of understanding that society builds all of us, that we are all in that.
Well, there's a word for that. The word is genealogy.
That's not the word for genealogy. Genealogy? Oh, God. Is that like the British spelling of a thing? Yeah, it's a British spelling of the thing. Genealogy, whatever. I've always seen it spelled with O's. But it's still not genealogy. That's not... What did she say that is genealogy? Personal responsibility is fashion. Specifically, it's putting it on yourself that the idea of personal responsibility is yours. That you are responsible for how you behave and how you think in the world, instead of understanding that, one, there is no you, and instead, We are all built by the society and the material conditions we're in. This is why when we say things like, well, if I was Heidegger, I would have done, it's like, no. You can't go back. Like, if you were to put you in Heidegger's place, that's not how that works. He's built and exists in his context and in his material conditions that produce him. The world produces people. People are produced just like Prel shampoo, just like cars, just like anything else. People are made by the world that we are in. We're tricked and taught and ideologically mystified into believing that we do it ourselves, that it's only my own personal trap, and if I can just fix my own thing. They do that, and capital does that because it keeps us running on our own treadmills instead of moving forward. It's a treadmill instead of moving forward. That's how it works. I don't understand what is genealogy here. I'm going to rewatch that again. Sorry.
It's regarded as neutral, as just like food. By doing that, could I undergo a personal psychological transformation? Could I remake myself and become a different kind of person? Well, there's a word for that. The word is genealogy.
I don't get it. I don't know what the fuck they think that word means. Whoever wrote this, I don't know what they think that's referring to. Does anyone know? Please? Can anyone just help me there? Because my brain won't be able to move past this moment unless someone can explain to me how, because Genealogy of Morals talks about, no. I can't. I don't know what to do with it. I got nothing. Claire Harvey, you are looking at a grown man with pink feathered hair and a Cookie Monster shirt. My daughter loves Cookie Monster. And with painted fingernails and a very lovely vaporwave cardigan. Thank you. Yes, this is what you're looking at. And the Cookie Monster shirt's fucking awesome. So, she's saying that realizing where your morals come from is making a genealogy of your own morals. Maybe. But here's the thing. You can't do that in like a vacuum. Like that could be a sentence, right? We're talking about Nietzsche. Nietzsche wrote a book called The Genealogy of Morals. That's not what the Genealogy of Morals is. That's not. It's a genealogy of morals is the genealogical, historical, political pushes that have created the space that we're in. Zentapir, hey, everyone right here, Zentapir, go look at Zentapir's channel. Zentapir has a very good channel that, and sorry, this is not an insult, Zentapir. 7 of you who go look at it will love, but absolutely you will fall in love with it. If you're one of those 7 people. I'm one of them. So, Zentapir says, let me try. Genealogy, as in Foucault, is misunderstood as a guide for personal transformation. There are those who read Foucault's work on sexuality as a guide. Oh my God. I think Zentapir nailed it. Holy shit. Because if she's read, and you know what? Oh, that makes things fall into place. So, basically, what this is it's a misreading of Foucault, leading to a misreading of Nietzsche, leading to a misuse of the word. Right? Yeah, I think that's fair. God, that's a lot.
It means tracing the line of descent, trying to trace where your values and ideas come from. And oh, look at this! It's a book by Friedrich Nietzsche called On the Genealogy of Morals. Society has gone wrong, we've gone off the rails.
Estelle, if you could link Zentapir's channel, that'd be great. Zentapir has a recent video on lies that is fucking awesome.
Because we value the wrong things. We've all got wrong ideas. This is how that happened. This is how we got here. This is what we're gonna do about it. This is like his 12 rules for life, okay? So.
Oh, I forgot that line was in here. Genealogy of Morals is exactly like Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life. That is a great analogy. I like that. We'll go with it. Let me pull up my Genealogy of Morals. Wait. Can't find my copy. It's not behind me. I have too many fucking books. That's okay. It happens. Fucking, this hurts my brain so badly. I'm kind of fucked up over it, actually. It's so awful. All right. Oh no, don't crash. That's okay. Here we go. All right. Fuck, it's so frustrating. Oh, my brain is just not wanting to be happy right now. I actually don't think I could do it. I think even if I were to fuck around, and try to find 12 lessons, I don't even think I could find one. Because it's one of the things that Nietzsche specifically in Genealogy of Morals does, is he doesn't elucidate an actual edict of what you should do. Right? No, Vikström, that's... No, I remember this section of Genealogy of Morals, make your bed and stand up straight. Nietzsche said that all the time. I was like, make your bed. That was his thing. Yeah, that guy had 12 rules for life. Nietzsche did not live like that, or think like that, or even consider that. It's not that. Morty says, aren't all attempts at pop philosophy bad philosophy? I believe so. I'd love to see otherwise. And I feel like there's a way that maybe you could do it. But the moment you move into analogy, you've basically destroyed the ability for a concept to be a thing unto itself. And you've analogized it so that it's able to take other shapes. The moment you do that, you ruin the concept. Yeah, thank you, Sunday. Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil, it's one of the chapter titles. Wash your balls. It's so stupid. Holy shit. Oh, God. This is going to be so awful. I was watching In and Out for the most part during Sunday's thing. I keep forgetting some of these lines because I'm editing a 45-minute piece I'm writing on social codes and yeah, why do I spend time? I should just fucking do pop philosophy. I wonder if I could trick and just do it cynically. I think I'd end up being depressed because if it worked, I'd end up having to just Minecraft myself.
Okay, let's go. According to Nietzsche,
playing Thus Spoke Zarathustra in the background is what you might call a hat on a hat.
There are three kinds of...
That's not me.
People. Masters, slaves, and priests. Each group of people has their own morality, their own system of...
Those Ride of the Valkyries?
The masters...
Whatever. I don't care.
Conquerors,
Don't
doers,
care.
commanders.
What the fuck? Why are they playing Ride of the Valkyries?
I think like ancient Romans, ancient Greeks, Vikings, warriors.
Just Wagner? It's just a choice for Wagner? It's just like...
By instinct. Sometimes...
Who cares? It's on the nose. Wagner is on the nose. That's hat on a hat shit. Don't do that. That's hat on a hat shit.
That's an instinct for violence. It's true. But, you know, that's just...
And specifically, Nietzsche wrote about his Wagner time as being a thing he regretted. Hey kids, just so you know, here's the thing that happens when you get older. You regret choices in your life. I could show you one. I have on my body 5 tattoos. Do you know what they are? If you know, don't guess. Because I know some of you know. But I have tattoos. What are the tattoos? They're not swastikas. They're nothing like that. But they are a thing that I regret. Correct insomnia. I have multiple Insane Clown Posse tattoos on my body. Because I did a lot of drugs and drinking when I was 16 to like 23. And really, really, really like tattoos. I also have an Ayn Rand tattoo. Correct. Geez, Estelle nailed the other one. I do. It's a tattoo of the number of the character from, I don't even remember the name of the book anymore. It's a whole thing. Those are the ones. Those are pretty much most of my tattoos. The other ones aren't anything you'd know. But guess what? When you get older, you might regret a thing. That's how it works. You might get a thing covered up. It's not We the Living. From the short story with the guy, his name is 7-2521. It's the character's name. And so it's what I got. It is 7-2521 on my wrist. Hurt a lot, by the way. Don't get a tattoo on the wrist. Anthem. Thank you. You regret things. And guess what? People like this will never let you fucking get past that. Ever. There is nothing more valuable in life than the ability for things to be forgotten. You know who believed that? Nietzsche. The power of forgetting is like the core of how we defeat resentment. Forgetting is the power, the digestion of the brain, he called it. Nietzsche loved that. We must be able to forget things. Not wholly, not totally. It's not as simple as that. It's more complex and much more interesting. But we've got to be able to allow that to happen. And so, Nietzsche, who regretted his time with Wagner and explicitly spoke out against it. Yep, now it's that. He's that forever. He's that forever now to these fucking people. And it's sad because Nietzsche is like a wonderful, like vital thing. This is so frustrating. I don't know why you call internalization of society symptoms as automatically fascism. Isn't fascism something historical and specific? Why wouldn't you value the... All right, Denise. You're right, and I am oversimplifying a bit. But I'm not going to go deep into it because it would be a fucking road. The short version. Internalizing society's norms is something that everyone does. We're all produced by society. One of the things society teaches us is that we have to fix ourselves, that mom and dad have to fix us, that we are ourselves an island, and as such, we must only work on ourselves, instead of understanding how we are produced by society at large, and that those social systems that produce us are not at fault, but as part of the workings of why we believe or act as we do. Fascism, as a thing and as it grows, and this is Anti-Oedipus, Thousand Plateaus, and a series of books on from there. If you join our AO readings, we've got that. We're literally going over this right now, actually. But the way that fascism or fascizing tendencies in society tend to work is they push that on the individual, where they say, look, that guy committed crimes. He did that. That's him. There's no symbol or part of society that's responsible for that or that we could fix. Because once we start going down the road of saying, hey, wait, do you notice the number one sort of comorbidity with crime and violent death is poverty? The moment you know that, it's true, by the way, you just go, oh, maybe we should just get rid of poverty and then see if that stops crime. It does very much, by the way, quite often. That's not a direction they want to go. They want to keep it internalized to the unique individual. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. They want to do that. Brixton, if you're reading AO, we have a literal 2 readings of AO, 3 readings of AO right now on this channel. You can join as a thing. It's a whole beast of a book, but we go word by word, paragraph by paragraph. But that's more as a thing that I'm trying to say when we talk about fascising. I did oversimplify. It's a live stream. It's tough.
It's just natural. The masters, they're authentic. They're
Okay. We're gonna I'm actually not sure exactly how to like take this apart. She's about to go into and talk about the way that Nietzsche spoke of the relationship of the master-slave and the master-slave dichotomy, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is a thing, and add priest to that. This is almost all wrong, and how she speaks of it, there are edges to it that I think say volumes in terms of where she is actually at and the place she's coming from. And I think those, as I would call them, the way that she is clearly invested socially in a handful of concepts is going to come through really hard here. To be sort of upfront, and I wrote this down so I wouldn't fuck it up later, the master-slave-priest dynamic in Genealogy of Morals. The masters are the nobility. They're seen as the moral arbiters because they're in charge. They value strength, courage, and pride. This comes from and stems from very particularly, in my view, and there's a lot of other thinkers in here too, but I connect it directly to the way Spinoza talked of the two types of power. There's the power that one can exert and the one that power that is allowed to be exerted. Those are two parts of sort of force or power that one may have. So for example, I have the power to punch someone, but I don't have the power to punch someone. Even though we use the same word for it, it's really tough in English. French, they have some different words for it. In Latin, very particularly, they have two different words for it. And Spinoza uses those, and Nietzsche speaks of it in very much the same way. So when we talk about the strength of a person, their ability to act, they have total capacity to act. Acting capacity is sort of the term. And so what they do is they define good as that which is noble and powerful, and that which is bad as weak or common. For them, the value systems are made through sort of their actual living, through direct action or a self-affirming system. It's one of those things that I was on a stream earlier, I said, meritocracy is by itself defined by the people who are at the top. And so meritocracy means that those who have merit are the ones who succeeded in the society that says they have merit. See how it kind of creates its own world? That's the masters, the nobility, the good people. They're in power. They're able to do a million things that this enslaved can't do. That setup. Slaves, different. And again, we're being pretty explicit here. They're born of resentment against the masters. And that resentment is not what she's going to describe it as. It isn't that they're angry that the masters do evil things. It's that they're angry that the masters can do things that they can't do. The examples Nietzsche gives, and he gives them very often, but my favorite is the sheep and the eagle, where the sheep sees the eagle plucking animals out of the ground, just flying down, stabbing, killing, and eating. And the sheep's like, I don't do that. Why does the eagle have to? He uses this example because that's kind of the point for him, is that slaves define themselves in this dichotomy. They have the power, masters have the power to act, and they do act. I don't have the power to act, and therefore I choose not to act. That's the shift in what they do. That's the reason that they end up in the position. They're not allowed to act, but rather than simply allow themselves to understand they're repressed and oppressed, they take on a slave morality. The slave morality is that of saying non-action is actually good. Humility is good. Being in pain is good. Being sick is good. Taking care of the sick, being poor is good. They do that because it's a choice. They pretend they have a choice. They don't have a fucking choice. They don't have a choice as a thing. They don't. They're slaves. They're fucking slaves. They don't have a fucking choice. And so in this really weird thing is that they start from the position of the evil is that which they choose not to do, even though they couldn't do it. And the good is created in opposition to that. This is Genealogy of Morals, like 101. Okay? The priests emerge. She says, and I went back and I looked, I cannot find the section. She says that the priests emerge from the masters. And I don't believe that's how Nietzsche talks about it. That Nietzsche sees people earn their place amongst the masters by becoming a priest. The way Nietzsche talks about it is that the priest emerges as those who will take advantage of bad conscience. This is straight out of Spinoza, by the way. Spinoza defines three men. There's the man, the master, the slave, and those who take advantage of the slave. That's the priest. This is Nietzsche just takes that as far as I understand it. Someone can correct me on that, but it's not wildly far off. Shattered Space says, so slave morality would be saying something like, I see rich people skiing, I cannot ski, thus skiing is evil. Not saying that whole thing. Again, that's a conscious process. Think of it instead as, I see people all the time say, fucking golfers. They've never been in a place where they golf. Fucking polo. They resent the thing they've never been around. They immediately have this resentment of, I don't have that. I have never had that. Therefore, it's a bad thing. And they do a thing that's bad. They take advantage. The golfers are all of this land. Now, there's reasons to be shitty about golf. Don't get me wrong. But just saying that is stupid because golf is not like an evil thing. But there are people who talk about it as such. That's the thing. When it stems directly from that, it's, oh my God, look at how overdone the ball is. How disgusting for them to have so much food and just waste so much. All of the shit that 100%, like everyone would fucking, if you have, like you waste food, people waste, it's evil to waste food. I do better by having a bologna sandwich once a week. Like that thing, it's inside of you. It's in you, and it happens, and it sort of stems in this way. So it's this really weird setup. And amongst that slave population emerges the priest class. The priest class gains their power by taking on what the poor see as, look at how evil that is. It's good to be humble. And he goes, yes. And in fact, you will get your rewards in the next life. And they gain power and the ability to then, priests gain the ability to do more things by using this power as a thing. And so it's why he really, really hates religion. Like, this is why I fucking hate religion. This is a good reason to hate religion as a thing. This is good shit. And so this is the setup that he's got in Genealogy of Morals. I rambled because she's about to get all this wrong. I cannot believe I have 176 concurrents, by the way. Thank all of you for joining. I know, you don't even know what the fuck this mess is. It's a mess. I'm a mess. But I thank you for joining. And I'm Brooks. I'm part of the Quarantine Collective. We basically try to explain philosophy in an open-ended way that allows people to grow from it and learn and find their way through it and ideally create cool shit off of it. We're very happy to have a whole bunch of you in our community. And if you are not yet in our community and you have any interest in philosophy, and I mean any interest, if you've never touched a book, if you have no background, if you've never gone to college, I didn't go to college. It's not my thing. There's all of these things can be found. All of these things can be connected and you can find a way through it. Do it. Discord.gg/DGQC if you want to join the Quarantine Collective Live. Patreon.com/DGQC if you like this and you kind of want to support this. I don't do a lot of shit for my Patreons because I don't believe in putting money behind stuff behind paywall and money. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe I'll sell out at some point and start doing pop philosophy. I'll create a tier. Sure, $1,000 tier. I'll do pop philosophy. You get to name it. That'll be fun. Actually, I would want to do something silly like Toxic Avenger in philosophy. Because then that's how you could really, but even then analogy ruins it. Analogy ruins it. It just makes philosophy shit. But still, thank you all for being here. And thank you for being a part of it. Such a tiring time. Fuck.
Values. The masters are...
Do not think that the masters are Chads. This is not Chads versus incels. This is not using analogy. I've shit on it a couple times. This is a great example of this, by the way. Analogy takes two things that are not the same. And you, in the way that a sentence is structured and an idea given to you, you combine them and you create them to be the same shape. So here is the sign masters with the Chad imagery. So you make them match. You do. This is how we make sense of things. That is not what Nietzsche meant by masters. The Chads are like cool dudes kind of thing, and sort of alphas, not really alphas. It doesn't have to be. There's kind of weird shit in there. But again, to make it Chads, you get to see where Abigail places her own internal investments in life.
Are conquerors.
No, they're not.
Commanders.
Not really. Slaves actually do a lot of work for them. They're not doers necessarily. Nietzsche makes jokes about this.
I think like ancient Romans.
No, not just ancient Romans. Nietzsche's specific. The elites of ancient Rome and ancient Greece, pre-Socratic specifically. He's actually really particular on this because it's about those things.
Ancient Greeks, Vikings, warriors, aristocracy. The masters live by instinct. Sometimes that's an instinct for violence. It's true, but you know, that's just natural. The masters, they're authentic, they're dominant, they're driven.
Authentic, really not the wording of this. It's really not the wording of this.
They take what they want, they value the here and the now, and they f*** hard.
You know, there's when people ask me what religion I am, I often joke that if I'm held at gunpoint and forced, I would say I'm a Taoist. It's the closest I've ever come to any sort of religious thing that I like. And what you see in a lot of these sort of, Eastern mysticism things, when people take them too seriously and they run with them, is they turn them into a Jordan Peterson type thing where it's like, oh, here's how you can use the Stoics to become a better person, to gain power and to become rich. Here's how you can use feng shui to get more money. That kind of shit. You see this all over the place. Capitalism. What are you going to do? That's this. This is someone who, after reading Nietzsche, can't help but place all of the general signifiers of life of success in the places of what Nietzsche's talking about. It's really gross. Really, really terrible. This is a really, really terrible reading of the book.